do you think?
Well, it's not the kind of music that old Willie Shakespeare here used to write.
Oh, well.
Spade, do something intelligent. Are you ready, kids? I can't hear you. Oh, who lives in a swamp right under the sea? Who sniffs your aunt's head and won't let her flee? Who touches your mom and gropes all the kids? Be sure not to tell your dad what I did. Horny, bite and grab it, bite and grab it, bite and grab it, bite and grab it.
Join Mug Club today for $89 annually or try it mugless for $9 a month. You can sign up at louderwithcredit.com/Mug Club for the entire catalog, including Nick DiPaolo, Brian Callen, the Hodge Twins, Mr. Guns and Gear, and of course, Alex Jones, along with 100% more of this show.
Instead of having the majority of modern folks in the United States and Europe and other Western countries think, oh, God isn't real, you're seeing a divergence. People are becoming to understand, wow, this really is a fight between good and evil. So this is a deep dive for subscribers to Mug Club. I want to thank everybody that is a member for supporting what we're doing here and for supporting all the great work of Steven Crowder and his crew, because when you subscribe at jonescrowder.com, you don't just support us, you also support all the other great shows that Steven Crowder and his team are putting together and producing and getting out to a wider audience. We're very, very blessed to be here at Mug Club. Very, very thankful for all of you that are subscribers.
Once a week show, the Friday show, 11 Central. Don't miss it. Alex Jones.
Good morning. You don't get a sip, but you might get a cough. It's the cough that never goes away.
Still?
It won't be enjoyable. It will be loud. And it will happen often. All right. So I hope that that's not true. But look,
there is a cough button.
We do have a cough button.
Yeah, we got you. You can press
That's fantastic. Yeah. Yes, it is. It's right there. Okay. It's been there this entire time, and I've just been coughing into your... Listen, I apologize. My bad. I'll use the cough button. We've got a great show for you today. We're going to do a little bit of a recap on the Oscars.
Ooh, you suck.
That's mostly the recap. Trump reneges on his TikTok ban, it seems, and maybe Vivek's kind of joining in and some other people. We'll see how that goes. We love those guys, but we're going to call them out when we disagree. Biden apologizes for calling a killer an illegal, because that's the offensive part of that sentence. And get this, liking outdoorsy girls is gay. Or beta, whichever one you want to say. Look, we are going to talk about some subjects today that are probably going to get us in a little bit of trouble. So if at any point during the show, not because of me, but because of what somebody else will say or do, because I would never do this, you see this, go on and head on over to Rumble and make sure that you watch us over there. Listen, YouTube audience, I love you. I appreciate that you're there, but what the hell are you doing there? Go to Rumble. Do it. Hey, you. Now.
Do it.
Go to Rumble. Do it now. It's a live show, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. Before we get into anything else, what do you guys think about TikTok being potentially banned? Are you on board with this?
Good.
Is this we're not supposed to... It's a question. I didn't ask for answers yet. So good. What do you guys think about that? Is it really that big of a deal? I've had this conversation with people before who are avid TikTok users, and they say it's totally fine. Drug users say drugs are good for you as well. So we'll go for that. In my chair today, when you hear this music, you know we've got Ginger Snap Lane the Brain. How are you, sir?
Good to go.
Proximity to microphone.
Ready to rock.
Always.
I'm close.
You are?
Yeah.
How close?
Very close.
See, there you go.
I
now
hear
we
you
hear you.
now.
Now you got a
I
radio
also
voice.
find out the word reneged has two E's in it. Wasn't aware.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were
Did we
just
have
about to
did
say
we have a typo,
slur.
Lane? Is that what you're trying to
Yeah.
say?
No, I typoed when I was typing.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh.
I think it has 3.
You don't have to do like my bad humor as well, like when you sit in my chair.
I don't have any good humor to offer. So
See,
that's what you
now
get.
you know how I feel, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Fantastic. And when you hear this, you know the man is in third chair. Josh Firestine is going to be at Bricktown Comedy Club, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Friday, March 22nd at Josh_Firestine. Hey.
That's right. I like it raw, baby. What's up?
Are you talking about food?
We're
at that
here with
point?
Captain
Like
and the
sushi?
brain.
Ceviche?
Yeah, any whatever you need. You like my shirt, Gerald?
I do.
You like this?
Hey, well, what is it like? I love that slogan.
Yeah, look
but
at that.
what does it mean?
It means.
Talk to me about that.
Oh.
Can you like say it?
Yeah, it reads like this: always a target, never a victim.
Wow, you just blew
Which
out
makes me sound like a
ears.
victim, but
a little.
it kind of sounds like I'm crying over here. But
Always a target, never a victim.
let me hit my cry button. It doesn't work, actually. Okay,
You don't. Yeah.
My
it's-
cough button doesn't work.
No, sorry.
You see, and you wonder why I think maybe I don't actually have a cough button, even though there's a button right
No,
here.
yours works because that's Steven's button.
You also.
It's your cough button. You press it, and then it makes you cough.
Did you hear what he just
You
said?
press it, and someone sprays mace in your face.
Yeah, pretty much. Did you dip my mic in asbestos before you put it over?
Oh,
Look, you want to know? Like we spare no expense. I'm just saying, like we don't always do things.
what you
Anyway.
wanted a sign? We gave you a sign.
Yeah, just
there it
sign,
is.
man. You're welcome.
I wasn't specific. You're right. I
saw
didn't
the
say
sign.
a good sign.
Yeah.
I didn't say a sign worthy of this show. I just said a sign, and therefore you did that.
We
I'm just
can't-
glad
we
you
can't
spelled
afford
it.
another neon sign.
Oh my gosh, I didn't ask for
You
that.
know what's a
Anyway,
good movie?
listen, I just get trolled. Oh,
Signs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's going to be like that all day today, guys. In fact, you know what we'll do? Every time Lane goes to speak, we'll hit the YouTube dump button. It'll make it better for
Because my
everybody.
takes are too spicy for the internet.
I don't think that's the reason.
I don't think you've made
listen,
anything
it's
spicy.
Women's History Month, guys. I'm not doing it.
Do it. Do it.
I can't. I would make that look so awkward.
No.
Like, white man overbite dancing awkward kind of thing. Can't do it. And my nipples are here and not here like Steven because of the surgery. So, just saying. They move. So, Women's History
Yeah,
Month.
he's got shit nips.
Glad we know where your nipples are.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
Yes.
for-
It's
Why don't you
important.
just prove it, Gerald?
Well, fine, okay? No. We'll do John Cena in a minute.
yeah,
Not
this
that
is not the
guy.
Oscars.
I'm not that bold.
You globalist pig.
We're derailing Gerald.
Can I get a larger notepad to block, please? So,
That should suffice.
this guy. All right. So, first fact: women could not serve on a jury until 1973. Lane, number 2.
Women could not get credit cards on their own until 1974.
Really? No charge of plates for you. Josh, number 3.
And the only thing more powerful than a strong, independent woman who knows her own worth is an average man.
It's been your Women's Month fact. Oh, hurry, hit the thing.
There we go.
We love you, ladies. It's all in fun. You get an entire month. I get we get the rest
They
of the
get
year.
12 months with me,
but
Gerald.
you celebrate their entire catalog
I
of
celebrate them
achievements.
all year round.
Do you, Joe Biden?
That's
I celebrate them all.
right, I do.
All right.
you know the thing.
Until they turn 12. So
That's a pedo joke.
it is
Yep.
allegedly. So I don't know. We used to live stream the Oscars because it used to be a little bit more entertaining. And, until Will Smith decided to slap the crap out of, what's his name?
Chris Rock.
Oh, yeah.
I knew that. I was getting there. It was part of a joke. No, I completely forgot his name.
That's not why we stopped streaming.
That's not why. I'm saying that was an interesting thing that
Yeah.
would have been fun to be there for, right?
Yeah,
For that.
Otherwise,
like,
it's been
20 seconds.
boring for
Yeah,
the
it's
past
been really boring. The ratings have been crashing. So, did you guys watch? Let me know. Did you watch the Oscars last night, or did you do like me and pretty much every other American out there and
Did
just
not know it
get
was
the
even on.
highlights?
I didn't even know it was
Yeah,
on.
I didn't either until I was scrolling through X. And I'm like, oh, that's tonight.
Okay.
The Oscars, I didn't watch the movies last year. So
None of them.
maybe one or two.
You watched Barbie. Come on.
I didn't.
Wow,
I want to
dude.
see it, though.
You do.
I want to see. I did buy a shirt that says, I am Ken Nuff.
Yeah.
I bought one of those shirts. It was cute.
I thought you were going to do I'm Only Ken or I'm Just Ken, whatever that song was that they sang.
I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's great. Yeah.
It's not a banger. Well, look, a couple of shenanigans did happen last night, and we wanted to make sure that we covered it and did our jobs. So it's time for Gerald Knows the Oscars. This better be a good stinger.
Costumes. They are so important. Maybe the most important thing there is. I can't open the envelope.
This is the highest point of Robert Downey Jr.'s long and illustrious career. Well, one of the highest points. But Robert has been Was that 2 on the nose, or was that a drug motion you made?
Jeez. So first off, John Cena naked? That caused quite a bit of controversy, and I hate all of you. I'm going back to the top of this, the stinger. I gave specific instructions that, hey, we used to do the Oscars. We've got to have a stinger laying around that we can kind of repurpose and just have the Oscars, and I can throw it to it, and it'll be nice. And then,
Well, we did that.
Yeah, that's what that was.
Well, that was the first part of that. The second part of that was
Well,
the continual trolling that I will always face, no matter how many of you I can fire.
It was beautiful.
I don't understand this. Nobody fears me.
But you wanted a
Josh.
Gerald Knows Oscars. I mean,
I'm
it's on brand.
always a target, and I sound a lot like a victim right now.
Here, borrow my shirt.
Yeah, we was just
You can
change
get one at
shirts.
crowdershop.com.
You want the Trump Fight Like Hell shirt? The new one? We updated the Fight Like Hell from George Washington to Donald Trump.
I love that shirt.
Boom, look at that.
Love
He
it.
said it, so I figured it was nice, put him on there.
love it.
Make him the
I
Irishman.
like that
He
it's
does.
in McDonald's colors.
Yeah, aw, the ketchup and mustard. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, so what did you guys think?
Make me a hot
what
dog, baby.
What was your take? Because I saw a lot of people like really upset about the fact that there was an almost naked person on the screen, and I understand that. There's some point to that. But what did you?
So there's this term going around X and stuff. I came kind of from middle of the road people using the term woke right, and I think this elicited a reaction from the woke right where everything suddenly is a victimization of
Yeah.
something. And I remember one person, I won't name his name, he said the continued emasculation of the
I
white
know, I
male,
saw that, yeah.
the shaming
Like,
of the white male. I'm like, first of all, John Cena is definitely not ashamed. You can't shame someone that's built like Zeus. It was hilarious. It was funny. I have zero problem with it, even when it comes to the risqueness. Why can't we just joke? Why? Not everything is politically or is inherently political, and this
of
certainly
course.
wasn't. It was a funny joke. Maybe you have a problem with the amount of skin that was shown because of the potential audience. I don't.
Yeah,
even know,
I didn't want.
I
like-
thought it was hilarious.
So you got
he
a
wore
movie.
more than he wears in a wrestling match.
Well,
That's
not,
not true.
not quite.
He wears jorts. Never
true.
mind.
He does
What
wear
a
jorts, and he
dork.
said that. Yeah,
God, thank God he's not wearing jorts.
I know.
I love George.
He gets to the mic and says, "Hun, hun, 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 hun." I don't know if you guys remember that when he apologized for saying, a country existed.
That's worthy of criticism.
Well, look. So my problem with this is relatively minor because I thought it was funny, but you've got Barbie as one of the movies that attracted a lot of kind of younger girls, and maybe they're watching this, maybe they're not, maybe their parents let them stay up and do. I have no idea. I don't know how big of an issue this is. But that was my only issue. It's like, it is a little risque for kind of. I mean, we do show people in scantily clad outfits way too often anyway, so this is not the only time we've done it. But now you've shown this guy, and what obviously is supposed to be kind of a funny bit, which I think it was. Like that was the first thing that I did. I laughed at it. And then the second part of it was like, okay, maybe we don't show that to kids. I get it. I understand. Let me know where you guys fall. There's going to be a lot of these kinds of questions because I'm curious. I genuinely didn't get so up in arms that I felt like I needed to comment on it outside of the show. But I did think that it was a funny bit. Now, I will say this. The people saying what you said, it's now the emasculation. Are you kidding? Like, this is the dumbest take that I've seen. When the right runs off onto these tangents just to try and be outraged for some reason, it really pisses me off because then people go, well, I don't know that I can trust anything these guys say. It's such selective, stupid outrage. And also that this is some kind of ritualistic shaming.
Yeah.
So that this
He's
guy
not
can be
ashamed.
in the Illuminati? Like, what? He's like, yes, Yes, shame me. Let people see my jacked body. Like, that's what he does for a living, guys. You're going to have to make him fully clothed if you want to shame him. I don't know, maybe put him in a baggy burqa or something, and that's shaming. I don't know, but that guy's pretty ripped. It's like saying Donald Trump is an idiot for having slept with models. It doesn't land the way you think it does. Yes, it's deplorable that if he's sleeping around on people and cheating on his wife, fine, I get that. But when you use models, use E. Jean Carroll. For goodness sake, say he slept with her. People be like, yeah, that sucks. The other thing that I hated about this was Jimmy Kimmel.
I'm just glad for the John Cena thing. I'm just glad they gave him a role that wasn't focused on his acting. Thank God. Finally, something
that's kind of a cold take too, because John Cena is hilarious, objectively hilarious. He's usually the best part about the movies that he's in. So.
Well, he's in really bad movies.
He's not a good actor.
He's so
terrible.
Funny.
Name a good movie John Cena has
you don't
been
have
in. And if you say fast as the first word for any of those, I'm going to kill you.
You mean the Fast series? No, those are terrible all the way around.
If this gun were loaded.
It might be.
Honestly, I think that.
Have you seen the movie Cock Blockers?
Oh yeah, that sounds like a real Oscar-worthy film.
They're not supposed to be. Chevy Chase wasn't supposed to be an Oscar winner either.
Yes, but he was objectively funny.
Whatever.
John Cena stinks.
All right, so here's the second part of this, and this was something that I thought really kind of sucked. I'm not like a huge Robert Downey Jr. fan, though I do like the guy. I think he's had a pretty good turnaround. Obviously, his career has turned around quite a bit. I mean, he seems like a pretty likable guy to most people now. Am I right? Do you guys feel the same way here, roughly? You don't. What's the matter with you, you judgmental?
I think RDJ's doing great. Good for him for being clean and everything. But the dude, I don't know. Just the whole vegan thing just kind of came off weird with him.
No. I don't support all of his life decisions. I'm just saying,
though, I think
generally speaking, he's a decent guy. Most people, he's not out there being a pedophile, which is what a lot of people in Hollywood apparently do, allegedly. But then Jimmy Kimmel, who's completely unfunny, takes a poke at him when he wins his first Oscar. Why would you do that? And you could see Robert Downey Jr. like, come on, man, like, move on. What the hell are you doing? You're talking about my drug use.
We've all
First
moved
Oscar?
on.
It was his first Oscar.
Oh, I don't know.
What did you think he wanted for Iron Man?
No. I have no idea.
He's been in some good stuff.
I care about anything.
He's had some good roles.
He's good.
A lot of white people won Oscars last night, though, actually.
Ooh, now the Oscars are so wet again. We're going to go back to it. Look, I just thought that was really crappy for him to do. I thought he handled it pretty well. I would have been fine if he'd have walked up and slapped him. That would have been fine with me. I'm good with that. But look, don't worry so much about the Oscars when there's a half-naked man on there. They were doing a bit about a streaker from like 50 years ago. I don't know, but that's been Gerald knows the Oscars. Having that stinger and this next sentence may not sound like it really goes together, but none of this happens without you. None of this quality production happens without you. Sign up.
I don't see the problem, Gerald.
At louderwithcrowder.com/muglub. $89 annually, $9 a month to go mugless. Hit the button right there. If you're on Rumble right now, we make it really easy for you. Just hit the button. I believe it's over here. Right there. Boom, boom. Right there. It's click it. It won't hurt. But here's the thing. Subscribe or you're gay. I don't make the rules. Let's move on.
Well, then I'm not subscribing.
Subscribe or you're gay.
But not like...
Is that clear enough?
Yeah,
clear
it's
enough.
clear.
Everybody understand?
Queer enough? Yeah.
Good. Rules of the game set forth. Don't be gay. I mean, unless, of course, you are gay, then whatever. Go with it.
But
Just subscribe either way.
And being gay are like... You
It's
can be
totally
gay and
different
cool,
things.
But if you're
Yeah.
gay, that's not cool. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's exactly right. That's the first solid point of the show for you. So let's keep that
I'll
rolling
make at least two a day.
as we get into Trump. So look, there is a bill that is aimed at TikTok, and it is expected to be voted on this week to ban them from the United States.
The battle to ban TikTok intensifying in Washington, with House leaders confirming they'll vote next week on a bill that would effectively ban the app, unless it's sold by its Chinese parent company, ByteDance.
We can't have a foreign-controlled social media app pushing misinformation, certainly not to our children.
Yeah, that's the job of American companies to push misinformation. We're certainly not going to let a Chinese Communist Party company do that. The House committee did vote unanimously, and Biden says that he would actually sign the bill. So all of this looks like it's leading towards TikTok being kind of quote-unquote banned, but that's not quite what they're saying,
No,
right?
there's extra steps.
It's a lot of extra steps, right? But it would force TikTok to divest or face a ban in the United States. And really, it's the parent company ByteDance, right? So, Lane, tell me just a little bit about this. When this originally came up under Donald Trump, I remember talking about it and talking about the difficulties with TikTok and ByteDance and all of that stuff. So for people who don't know and just look at TikTok and go, why are we banning this? Tell them why we think it's a good idea.
So the parent company ByteDance is a Chinese-based organization, right? The headquarters, if you will. And in China, they operate the same app, but it's called Douyin. And then in the West and other foreign countries, they have TikTok, which the offered content on Douyin and TikTok is very different. So the stuff that you're seeing in America on TikTok is vastly different than what a Chinese audience would see on their version of the
They're
app.
seeing like engineering and like they're basically prizing those videos.
They have makeup tutorials and stuff like that
of
too,
course.
but it's not designed to be as addictive as the TikTok version of the app is. And more than that, the security holes or the security backdoors that TikTok has installed that link it directly to the Chinese Communist Party, which I don't know if you've checked, is not our best friend in the world. They're
I haven't
extremely
checked, but I'm
concerning.
pretty sure.
They're so concerning that there's pretty much, outside of a small vocal group on both sides, a large bipartisan consensus. And I know Stephen hates the term bipartisan, but it's so glaringly obvious that it's just very hard to argue against some sort of action on the app.
Okay, so this proposal has absolutely, it basically has enraged TikTok and all of the people that love TikTok. And so there's been this campaign for, the last week or so, and people taking to X. I know we call it Twitter and X. I mean, just to make sure that people, the app formerly known as Twitter. And so here's one of them right now. So the bill is an outright ban on TikTok, no matter how much the authors try to disguise it. This legislation will trample the First Amendment rights of 170 million Americans and deprive 5 million small businesses of a platform they rely on to grow and create jobs. That was from TikTok. Their X account, and other people were supporting that and kind of parroting it. They were also doing a little bit more than that. So they also used an in-app pop-up on TikTok to prompt users to contact lawmakers to stop this kind of ban. So they're calling it a total ban. So this is a messaging campaign right now. Both sides are kind of trying to fight this battle and see if they can get the public to kind of back them. But the bill is also getting pushback from high-profile Republicans that you would not think would necessarily be pushing back on something like this, including Donald Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy, two people that we love and really appreciate what they're doing for our country. But when they say stuff that we disagree with, we're going to call them out on that. No sacred cows here, guys. So now it's time for a little then and now. All right. So Luke, my son's name. Sorry, buddy. You shouldn't be watching. Why are you watching? You just saw a naked man. So then, which way? Then or then? Then. Then. Fuck. Then.
You mistook then for Luke.
I said I was putting. It's never going to make sense to anyone other than my brain.
I don't think so.
So then,
here you go.
Yeah, nailed it. It's only the fifth time. Trump wanted to absolutely nuke TikTok. August 2020, he tried to ban it through executive order.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok.
President Donald Trump said late Friday he would sign an executive order to ban TikTok in the United States, ratcheting up the pressure on the Chinese owner to sell the popular short video app. The move would be the culmination of U.S. national security concerns over the safety of the personal data on TikTok, which is handled by Chinese company ByteDance.
That is the most boring way to tell a story ever. We pulled this clip and I was like, is this an international, like, English speaking like thing where because every time we pull one of those clips to talk about an issue internationally, it's like super duper boring.
What do you want, like acrobats?
I need something more. I don't know, Josh, not acrobats.
It sounds like an NPR.
Hi, and we have the popular app that is going to be banned. People are really thinking about it. And I'm like, it's just... It's I mean, it's almost like watching me do this show. It's boring sometimes, okay? I get it. Only one person can be boring. So that was Donald Trump. And I will make the argument there that he definitely did want to ban TikTok.
He's going to do it through executive order.
Right? Now he
signed the executive order.
Exactly. So he is not just, some people may look at that and go, well, that's just Donald Trump being Donald Trump. He's negotiating, right? He's making threats that ends up, being stuff that he's not really planning on doing, but it lets the other people know that he's not afraid to hit the nuclear button on issues. Like saying, hey, they don't pay their fair share to join NATO when they're in NATO. I hope he goes and invades those guys. We're not going to come to their defense. defense. That's kind of a negotiation tactic for him. That's putting pressure on people to do what's right. Even though he's not really encouraging Russia to invade a NATO partner. Right. So you can't really say this. But the ban did face legal challenges, and then it was dropped by Biden. So you said he signed the executive order. Did Biden sign a reversal of it, or how did he do it?
Yeah, so he signed it. Trump signed the executive order. Then I don't remember which court it was, said it didn't hold up.
Okay.
And so it was going through the legal process. And when Biden got in, then they
basically just stopped the challenge to the. Okay, gotcha. Exactly. All right, so in February of 2023, Vivek Ramaswamy expressed support for banning TikTok on X. Here's the post. And yes, I'm very open to banning TikTok outright. In the meantime, we sit on our hands and do nothing as kids get addicted to it like it's digital fentanyl.
Seems pretty straightforward.
That seems pretty straightforward. Digital fentanyl.
The word
bad.
outright.
Outright? That's also something that stuck out to you?
Outright, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now, fudge! Is it on the same side every time? The arrow's just pointing a different direction?
I think you
I don't know how
point.
to do this.
You point the right way.
I did. Well, I did that first.
That way.
And then Anyway.
You were pointing back to the future. You're right.
Really isn't the point. Now, don't do it again, please. Trump wants to save TikTok. Fudge. I say that. That's basically my other word for anyway. Trump railed
Sounds worse.
against this potential ban on his Truth post. I don't. We'll break this down, but here we go. Here's what he said. I'm not doing the voice because I can't do the voice.
Do it.
If you
do it, Gerald. Come on.
Do it.
But it's bad.
It's good.
That's
it's
great.
objectively.
No. It's at least a 7 or 10.
All right, pull it back up. I don't want to see myself while I do this. If you get rid of TikTok, Facebook, and Zucker schmuck will double their business. I feel like such an idiot.
Going.
I don't want Facebook, who cheated in the last election, doing better. They are a true enemy of the people. I hate myself for that. I hate all of you for putting me up to that.
Good job, Gerald. Thank you, Gerald.
But he said those words, and I understand part of it. I don't understand. But why the 180? What, did he find the claw machine hack videos on TikTok? See?
That's a happy camper right there.
Just so you know, those machines are made to make fathers look incompetent.
Yes. Not this one.
And unable to provide for their children's desires. When they see a stuffed animal in there and they go, Daddy, I want that. And then you get it and the claw picks it up and you're like, I'm a winner. My son is seeing me as I dropped it. And then $20 later, you still haven't won, but you also are showing your son that you can't give up. Trying to teach him some lessons. And then you have people over here like you, Josh Firestine, and you, Tesla Tim, because I'm using that name because I'm pissed off at you. You're saying I got it on the second try. It makes below average fathers look better.
Or you just give your kid a gambling addiction.
Just kidding. You're not below average fathers, guys. I just hate the claw machine. I did find one that was a guaranteed win, and it was like $5. And I'm like, I'm totally in for that. I know it's a $1 little ducky that I'm getting, but at least my son's going to know I'm a winner.
Yeah.
When I play a game, I win, son.
If you just go into the store where the claw machine is and buy the toy.
I just buy it.
You can always
be done.
You can always just show your son you're a winner by going, it's rigged.
That's true.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Life sucks, kid. Get used to it.
Or you break the machine and then get all the toys.
It's just,
there you go. That's what I say. Go in there with a 1911 and take all those toys.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, at least at 8.
You don't need to hold the machine at gunpoint.
It works.
Okay. All right. So then Vivek came out and supported Trump, saying it was wrong to ban TikTok.
President Trump just came out against a legislative measure that would require the owner of TikTok to divest it. It's currently a Chinese owner, a company called ByteDance, or else that it would be banned in the United States. President Trump just came out opposing that. I think that's the right decision, actually, of President Trump to oppose that legislation because it doesn't make any sense. This point about the divestment relates to a different concern. The use and provision of data, U.S. user data, potentially to the Chinese Communist Party. And I think that is a major concern. But here's the rub. It isn't limited to just TikTok or even Chinese-owned companies in the U.S. It expands to include even so-called U.S. companies that are still beholden to the CCP because they do business in China. So we have to ask ourselves the why. And if the real concern we have, and I think it is a real concern we ought to have, is the provision of U.S. consumer and user data to the Chinese Communist Party, that's what we should be legislating against. Ban U.S. companies from providing U.S. user data to China. I think it's a sensible measure regardless of the company.
Okay. So we're going to do a little experiment here. I understand what he's saying. But I also understand that people in the political sphere will kind of say sometimes whatever they need to say. And it does look really weird for us to show clips from not so long ago, especially with Vivek, and then clips of today, and see what seems to be an incredibly stark difference in the case of Donald Trump signing an executive order and actually pushing forward with this measure, and then now saying not to. Vivek saying that he thinks it's fine to do an outright ban, word that you pointed out, outright ban, and now saying I actually support Donald.
I had to. I'm sorry.
Now,
I can't do it twice.
You leave me hanging. So back to my point before I was so rudely interrupted. I understand what Vivek is saying, but I'm giving him credit. Or I guess I'm just assuming that he's being honest. That's what I'm really doing. I'm just saying, look, if he's being 100% honest and this is what he truly believes, then I understand it. You can use TikTok as the momentum-changing company, the face of the problem, and say any company doing business in the United States is not allowed to give this kind of user data to any of these foreign governments. None. Period. Zero. Can't do it. Everybody wins if you get that kind of bill passed. Now, there may be some problems with that. There may be some tricky legislation hoops you have to jump through and pitfalls that you have to avoid. I completely understand that. But if that's what he's saying, then that's something that I could probably get behind because what he said was reasonable. It says doesn't take care of the issue that we have with Facebook and a bunch of other companies that are basically doing the same thing because they're beholden to China as well. It's not just about being involved with the CCP. It's about being beholden to them. You know how I know that? Because the NBA started kicking fans out that had signs that said something about Hong Kong. In the United States, by the way. The game was not in China or in Hong Kong where they were kicked out. So I understand that they have an undue influence, and I understand that we are all hypocritical when we look at these companies and don't call them out for that stance. But Lane, you disagree. Or at least
so
in
many
some ways.
Flaws with this argument.
Yes,
there's so many. First of all, those other companies.
Mine or theirs or both.
The other, well, yours to an extent, but not necessarily.
So I'm better?
I understand where you're trying to come from. You're trying to see his position, and I appreciate.
Yeah. Again, I'm assuming he's being completely honest.
I saw it, and I hate it.
Okay.
So
wow.
First of all, these other social media companies that he's talking about, they don't even. There's no allowance for them to exist at all in China, which is our pacing threat of a lifetime. They're our most critical adversary since at least World War II, and that's not really even arguable. Now, beyond that, yes, we should look at all those things that he said as far as banning any companies from sharing U.S. citizens' user data with the Chinese or any foreign adversary.
Right.
Great. However, stopping TikTok from doing so is going to require so much more than it would requiring those companies to. It's going to require so much more oversight, different mechanisms, because it's inherently a national security issue with a company that we don't have access to.
Right.
We don't have access to the code. We don't have access to the engineers. We don't have, so anything that we issue as law that covers in a blanket term all these other social media companies is not going to have the same effect on TikTok anyway. So TikTok and ByteDance are always going to need special legislation that is formatted through a national security lens to deal with this. And that's what this is doing. And for the first time, it's a problem that's so obvious. You have 90% of people on both sides of the aisle, except your radical weirdos like AOC. And all of a sudden, now I'm not calling Vivek or Trump or Rand Paul, whoever radical, but all of a sudden they became strange bedfellows with the radical left on this TikTok thing. Don't we think there's an issue there? Because in the middle, we have a group of people from Democrat to Republican that are looking at a problem that said, this is so obvious. We have a way to solve it right now. We can do the other stuff. But why are we not solving this problem that's in front of us? Why? It just seems...
Maybe that's true. Well, look, I think you're right. I think there is probably a national security lens that we need to look through on foreign-owned companies.
This is a national security bill.
Well, no, what I'm saying is maybe that we then follow that up with something about domestic companies as well, sharing that data. So we do both. I don't want to miss the opportunity. People look at TikTok and they understand for the most part what it is, except everyone writing the bill. I doubt any of them have actually used TikTok. But understanding that this is potentially a problem, we've dealt with it before, so this is a really good example to use to get something done, right? Huawei was not. They just banned Huawei outright. Most Americans had no idea how to pronounce Huawei. It starts with an H.
Well, that was more about the hardware.
I understand, but it wasn't something that they could run with because it's not a social media company that most people use and understand and go, oh, okay, TikTok, I get it. They may not understand the problem with it, but at least they're paying attention. With Huawei, they're like, what, 5G, technology, whatever. I don't really want to worry about that. I don't want to waste the opportunity. So I hope they don't just look at this and go, TikTok issue solved.
No, and
I hope they keep going with this and come up with other bills, because Facebook also is a problem, right? There are other companies that this is an issue for, and it's not because they're owned by the CCP. They're actually influenced by them to be able to do business in China because they want the money.
That's not, and your argument makes sense and it holds a lot of water. Vivek was not making that argument.
He wasn't. No, and
Trump
I need
is not
them
making that argument.
If that's what they are trying to do, they need to do a better job of articulating it.
Well,
right now they
Vivek's
just
never
look like they're
struggled to
flipping.
articulate anything because he's a very, very intelligent.
He's a very
man.
intelligent
so
guy.
I fail to see how he's just skipped on that little logical
You know what?
premise right there.
Vivek, let's do another space. You and I, we'll talk about this, or come on the show and talk with Steven about it, because we need to understand why all of a sudden this position seems to be changing for not only you, but also for the president. You are speaking for Donald Trump in a lot of ways, so we need a little bit more understanding. I would love to invite you on the show to make sure that we understand the position that you guys are advocating for, because right now it does look a little weird. Okay, so let's get into one more thing about this. Jeff? Yes.
Yes.
Jeez.
Yes.
I knew that was going to happen. Button.
Yeah, that's
a little late to the game on that. Sorry about that, guys. Told you it was going to happen.
Hold that button.
It's not voice.
Listen, it's going to happen, okay? I'm sorry.
So Jeff Yass, U.S. businessman that has a $33 billion stake. That's a lot of money, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeez. He is reportedly threatening to pull funding from Republicans who support the ban. And he also
we have a protester.
Yes, pretty much. He also recently met with Trump at a Club for Growth retreat. And in this cycle, he's been very critical of Donald Trump and funded his opponents. And he also donated about $5 million to Vivek starting last summer. So the connection here with this guy, and he's been critical of Donald Trump, and all of a sudden these guys, you and I were talking about this before the show. Donald Trump's been invited to speak at a Club for Growth event, right? And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, people get invited to speak at stuff all the time. Well, not when you typically are mortal enemies with somebody else.
He very clearly was trying to bankroll other people to keep Trump out.
Correct.
And he had mentioned how it was very hard to dissuade Trump from running because he was not held to the certain kind of mechanisms that funding, if you need funding for your campaign. Trump was not, he was kind of impervious to those because he's a self-made dude.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden,
money starts flowing.
Yeah.
And so, listen, again, this is one of those things. We're not dogging on Trump, but if this is happening, he needs to address it. He needs to make sure he's completely transparent with people. And if his position is only changing because of the finances involved, that's wrong. His position should be his position, which normally that's the case for him. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for now, but we need some clarification on this before I am fully going to say, okay, I understand, because right now I don't. Yas has also given $10 million to Rand Paul, who also opposes the ban. And Rand Paul cited First Amendment protections as justification on X. So here's his post. The TikTok bill recently advanced by the House would endanger the First Amendment and empower the federal government to ban social media platforms. Okay, that's very reasonable and understandable. And he had some other people come to his defense and say that they agreed. So here's another post. The U.S. crackdown on TikTok tramples upon its First Amendment rights. Let's just leave that up for a second for me. I mean, yeah, they're tearing the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Who's the Global Times?
Oh, that's China's state media.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do China have First Amendment rights globally?
No. No,
Who's freely posting on American social media.
They are.
It's weird.
Play that again. I love that.
China is asshole.
Nailed it every single time. Look, here is the truth about TikTok. This is not a First Amendment issue, but more a data and national security issue, as highlighted by Josh Hawley.
Why should your platform not be banned in the United States of America? You are owned by a Chinese communist company, or a company based in China. The editor-in-chief of your parent company is a Communist Party secretary. Your company has been surveilling Americans for years. According to leaked audio from more than 80 internal TikTok meetings, China-based employees of your company have repeatedly accessed non-public data of United States citizens. Your company has tracked journalists improperly gaining access to their IP addresses, user data, in an attempt to identify whether they're writing negative stories about you. Why should your platform is basically an espionage arm for the Chinese Communist Party? Why should you not be banned in the United States of America?
That's a really good question. Yeah.
That's the dude the Republican Party should be hitching their image to, is him.
Yeah.
He has all the same policies as the MAGA side, but he articulates them very well. He can argue with both sides. I am so blown away why that dude is not the face of the party. I don't get it. That dude is a gangster.
He is a gangster. Because Lane has a bromance, would you like to come on the show?
Dude, I'm just saying.
No, I like his positions as well. When we use his clips, he's very fiery, but he's also very reasonable in kind of his passion. Like, his passion doesn't overwhelm his logic, right? And he always makes a very good logical argument, but does it with passion, and that's great to see, especially in cases like this where you have TikTok that is absolutely beholden to share data with the CCP. Leaked internal audio that he even referenced from TikTok confirmed that and basically said everything is seen in China. Leave that up for a second. I want to read the whole thing. Leaked audio from more than 80 internal TikTok meetings shows that China-based employees of ByteDance have repeatedly accessed non-public data. That's what he said. Then the quote is, everything is seen in China, said a member of TikTok's Trust and Safety Department in September 2021 meeting. Trust and safety is, trust us, we showed you everything, right? We absolutely gave you all the data. Now, that's a real problem for people. And I have had some conversations with people about TikTok in the past. I've articulated my concerns, and they said, no. The concern from China is not that they're gathering data on people. It's that they're going to commit cyber attacks against the United States. And I said, look, I understand that cyber attacks are a big problem. And, knocking down websites during the State of the Union is probably a big deal. AT&T going down, along with some others going down. Facebook and all these cloud services going down over the last couple of weeks. All of that is a big problem. MySpace? Are they the reason it went down?
MySpace
I thought it was...
didn't go down.
Oh. But it sucks, so nobody cares anymore about it.
Come on.
Maybe it should have gone down. Maybe you could have a better excuse
Put some
for
respect
sucking.
on Tom's name.
No, Tom. It would have been better for you if they had taken you down.
Tom sold that and ran.
Yeah.
Smart man.
MySpace.
Good job, Tom.
No, I understand. But look, there's an issue with gathering information, gathering data, and then using that data against citizens. You don't just have a problem when they can take out your services. You have a problem when they can influence people to do things when they don't even have to attack at all. All they have to do is kind of dumb down the population a little bit with dance videos all the time, or people doing really stupid things that are going to end up hurting them, right? And promoting that to as many kids as possible, understanding that you don't know what the algorithm is actually trying to do. It is not just some benign thing. We've talked about it before. Serving this algorithm that we have in the United States, even if it's not nefarious, is a bad thing. You throw in the Chinese Communist Party, their objectives in the world, and it starts to become a very bad thing very quickly. The administration knows this. You know how I know? They've gone after, and I mean the current administration, and I mean people that are like them in the Democrat Party. They have gone after this kind of behavior before. When they put that kind of truth, and what was the truth, Ministry of Truth, or whatever the heck it was, maybe that was just the nickname that we all gave it.
Basically that.
Essentially, the Ministry of Truth to go after fake news and to go after misinformation and disinformation, and now we had to have different terms for all of these things. They went after all of that. That's exactly what this is, except it's being weaponized not just for clicks and money and some minor control. It's being weaponized against an entire population. It is a major threat. Start taking it seriously. Otherwise, we're all going to have to pay the price for it. But so TikTok uses Oracle to wall off data from users, right? So it's a project called Project Texas, and it's a big failure. Is that a fair point to make?
So if we wanted to get more into Rand Paul's tweets, he was like, Trump tried to ban this with Project Texas, which is like Oracle would get access to the code and be able to wall off and keep the user data inside the U.S. Except that didn't happen at all. And within like months, the engineers like, there's too much new code coming from China every day. We have no idea what's going on. They're using ByteDance internal messaging systems. So Rand Paul knows this. That's why these people know these things. So that's why I can't take these people at face value, because they're not stupid enough to know that this isn't happening.
Right. So why did they call it Project Texas?
Because Oracle's based in Texas.
Fine. Yeah. I'll let you have that. You can go to hell. I'm going to Oracle. Okay, so it's a quote. It's a famous quote. So one of the other things is that when you look at TikTok, you also have to look at them in relation to other companies, because Donald Trump is making the point that Facebook is just as bad, and I think they potentially are, but maybe not quite. TikTok actually scored dead last out of 23 apps on tracking and privacy in a study including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, now X. Right? Dead last. last, even among other companies
Way
that we
dead
would
last.
consider. Yeah, way. They were first in being last, even in company with other companies that we know are a bit of a problem. And it's in-app browser. It also allows the company to track keystrokes, and that's something that you're familiar with because Instagram and Facebook, they do the same thing. Tracking keystrokes, tracking everything that you do is a bad thing. But in TikTok, you can't turn it off. You can't turn that feature off. In Instagram and Facebook, you can actually go in and turn it off. I, for one, think it should be off, and you have to be a moron and turn it on. But at least they give you the option to turn it off. TikTok does not. Look, here's the kind of final point on TikTok. It's more dangerous than any of these other apps because it is directly beholden to the CCP. Period. These other apps that do business in China have a problem as well, but they're not directly beholden to the CCP. If they don't do business in China, they still exist as a company. They may not make as much money. They may have to make some cutbacks. But if TikTok does not do what their parent company ByteDance does, which is what the CCP wants them to do, the company probably goes away. It has a lot of problems. So now the question becomes, how do you fix this? Josh Hawley has better points on this than most people. Go look at it. I think it's time to make sure that you fix TikTok's problem and you fix the problem with the rest of the companies that might be sending user information to foreign adversaries. Seems pretty clear to me. Don't miss this opportunity.
I just can ask one question before we get out of here.
You may.
And because I want to know your opinion on it. Let's say this is probably going to pass the House. It got out of the committee 50-0. Biden said he's going to sign it. So if it gets through, let's say it gets blocked in the Senate, and the people that block it are the 52 or whatever Democrats that are in there. So now all of a sudden, everybody said good for the ban except Senate Democrats and our nominee for president of the United States.
That's a bad look.
What's
a bad look for them to align?
How do you spin that then?
It's going to be really hard.
I'm going to vote for Trump. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing that at this point that would get me to vote for Biden, even if two guns were pointed at my head. But the fact is, you're going to be in a very precarious situation.
Can we point 3?
I just want to hold our side to a higher standard.
I agree. I 100% agree. Look, that's why I said that they need to come on and tell us what they mean. Talk to us and give us just give us the truth. What do you really mean by this? Are you changing your position? I think you have to address that. When everybody gets called out for flip-flopping on issues years later, I think it's fair. But it's also fair to listen to the response, but it better be good. Because right now it doesn't seem like it's very good, and you're right. It's a very bad look to be siding with AOC. Ew, that's not a good thing. By the way, on the voter thing, like I am a single issue voter now. Getting rid of daylight savings time, like ever changing the clocks again, just pick a lane and just do it. I literally will vote for somebody. I don't think I'd vote for AOC, but I would literally vote for somebody whose only plan is to make sure that that clock never changes again. It's stupid. I don't care if you live in the north and it's dark later. Move south where it's light longer. Yes. I don't care. I hate it, especially when it starts to go in the fall where days get so short that you leave work and it feels like midnight.
Yes. I didn't realize it happened.
You didn't realize it happened?
No, I didn't realize that. Someone told me this morning. They're like, daylight savings time sucks. And I was like, oh, is that today?
You're like, no, I was just tired yesterday.
I was like, well, I slept in an extra hour yesterday.
No, it's the other way.
No,
I was like,
you woke
man,
up at your normal time. It was just an hour later.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I felt good, Jill. I was like, wow, I got a nice.
It's really fun with it's really fun with young children.
Oh, yeah.
Love that, jerks. Anyway. Remember, go to crowdershop.com. There's only 2 ways really to support us. One, join Mug Club. That's 100% the first place that we want you to go join Mug Club. Second is crowdershop.com, guys. You can get all kinds of great merch. We always are updating the new items. We have the Fight Like Hell Trump shirt. The always a target, never a victim. The shirt is on there as well. And every purchase right now gets you an entry for 1,000 rounds of ammo.
Oof.
Yes, awesome. 1,000 rounds of ammo just in case the zombie apocalypse happens. You will be ready for at least 1,000 of them. Be a good shot.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Most people are going to be good for about 175.
Not everybody can be you, Josh.
Hey, I'm good for 200.
What about some twofers? The zombies tend to walk close together and, like line up.
That's a good point.
You can get some twofers. I think you can. All right, so let's finish up with a little bit of Joseph Robinette Biden. If you watched our stream last Thursday, if you were one of the well over 200,000 people to do so, we thank you very much for watching it live. You heard that you have to subscribe or you're gay, along with many, many other things, and that they also held my family hostage. Don't worry, we met the minimum. They're safe. But On Saturday, in an interview with MSNBC, our former Vice President Joe Biden apologized for calling Laken Riley's killer an illegal.
I noticed the look of surprise on your face when you walked into the chamber and you saw Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was priceless. You feigned shock.
Yes, funny moment.
Seeing her. But during your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on the border was that the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talked about what I'm not going to do, what I won't do. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect.
None of them?
Even
murder.
Yeah. The reason our economy is growing. We have to control the border and more orderly flow, but I don't share his view at all.
So you regret using that word?
Yes.
Fun fact, the killer does not regret killing.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. You know who I know disagrees with former Vice President Joseph? Everyone! Including Joe Biden.
Do you regret using the word illegal to describe immigrants last night, sir?
Well, I don't regret it. Was technically not supposed to be here.
Are you kidding me? Technically, he's not supposed to be here. It's not a mundane detail, Michael. It's a big deal. This guy
cut it off short,
went
too.
out and killed somebody, and we're saying we need to be careful with how we refer to this person because technically, no, objectively, he was not supposed to be here. And we caught him. We had a chance to get him out of here, but it's only because of a-hole cities like New York that have sanctuary city laws that he was even allowed to be there anymore.
Gosh. We just saw Joe Biden on script, Joe Biden off script.
That's right. We saw Joe Biden when he didn't have somebody pulling the strings, when Obama wasn't in his ear, apparently. Gosh, this
It wasn't on 55 uppers or something.
You can tell the difference by the lighting and the cameras when he's on script or off script.
I know. That just pisses me off because somebody died and they shouldn't have died. Right? It's always bad. It's technically somebody died.
Theoretically,
technically, all of the somebody died, and we're worried about how we refer to this person. Listen, we're going to do a little claim truth around this. Okay, so one of the claims that you heard was that illegals built this country.
On rock and roll?
Who said that?
Illegals, Tim, illegals built this country. Don't you know that? Here's the truth. This country was built by pioneers. Fleeing oppressive governments, monarchs, situations. They also included Europeans who came through Ellis Island escaping and signed the guest book. They were escaping war, pogroms, genocide, stuff like that.
Minor details.
Minor things, They're here. Another truth?
Oh, another truth.
I'm waiting. There we go. Today's illegals are also here to siphon money from a welfare state. We've had video after video that has come out and shown that that's what they are doing. They're coming here for economic opportunity. I came here for the money. And illegals are costing U.S. taxpayers over $150 billion per year.
That's good for the deficit.
Also known as 7.5 border walls.
Yeah.
Again, I'm pricing these things in border walls because we can solve the problem 6.5 more times than we need to in just 1 year's worth of money.
6 walls is a good idea.
Well, I don't know. We need 6.
You could put
it on every
We
side.
can do 2.
Well, walls that they move.
How about-
they and you have to try to find your way through.
Like Maze Runner.
Yeah, and then it always leads back to Mexico.
You could do that. You could get the games people from the Mockingjay series and just be like, it's not Mockingjay.
Hunger Games?
Hunger Games. Mockingjay was one of the episodes. Don't mess with me too much.
Movies.
Over this.
One of the books.
It was one of the movies.
A bunch of.
There's some terms that are
uncultured.
We can get people that make games. You know what I like though?
Yeah.
I like that when these illegal migrants are fleeing the hellholes that they are in and being persecuted in.
Shitholes.
I say other words.
Haiti's always been great.
Always been fantastic.
That's why they named it after
They do us a great service, and they wave flags so that we know which country they came from.
This Haitian music.
That's what you eat people to.
Yes.
At least Mexican culture is a huge influence in American culture. The rest of them.
Yeah, it has an info. Like, never mind.
You just angered Lane. He short-circuited. He'll be back in a minute.
This is not an argument over immigration writ large or a racist thing at all. There are plenty of immigrants, asylum seekers, refugees that deserve to have been here. Like the Vietnamese, for example. We basically started a war in their country. Yeah, we should have probably taken some of them in. Look what they did when they got here. They've done nothing but become one of the largest outperforming socioeconomic groups in the whole country. They're great in school. They're great in the business community. So this is clearly not a specific race thing, but there are some cultures that suck. I'm sorry, when's the last time you used anything that was developed in Central America? Never, because it sucks.
My pool guy is Portuguese.
That's European.
He speaks Portuguese. He's from Brazil.
Maybe
That's
Brazil.
South American.
Yeah.
Well, he went to.
He was very specific on Central America.
Is Central America a continent? I don't think it is. There's only
It's a region. It's not part of either.
Right. It's just.
What is that? Mexico?
No, that's North America.
Where is Central America?
It's between North and South America. It's in the central part.
Haiti.
That's just.
We're talking about Haiti.
More work.
Haiti is in the Caribbean. What are we talking about?
Somebody get Josh a map. Research. Pulled up Josh a map because we all need to know. It's south of Mexico for sure.
So this is like 3 countries.
And north of like Colombia. I don't know.
Continents. Panama, Nicaragua, El Salvador, those kind of places.
Yeah, those guys.
This is not to say everybody from those countries sucks either. There's great people everywhere. The cultures that they're exporting here suck, though.
Yes, they do.
They've led to nothing but poverty and degradation.
There we
forever.
go.
And the only
6 countries. Okay.
And then you see the Venezuelans coming here.
7.
Yeah, because they have the world's largest supply. I'm sorry.
No, listen. You're making all good points. I'm just a little pissed off that they're fleeing these war-torn, economically terrible places.
We're not war-torn.
No. I'm saying in their mind, like if they're gang violence or whatever. Right, fine. They're not like war-torn, like traditional war-torn, but they're fleeing these bad situations and coming to the United States and saying, "I love my country," and illegally entering ours. Contrast that to those who came through Ellis Island and held up U.S. flags. I kind of think that this is what you should be doing when you come to the United States. Like, oh, thank God, I finally made it to the greatest country on the planet.
It's all part of this dumb social science theory that we went from being the melting pot to the mixed salad or tossed salad, if you will. Where before we'd all become one part.
No, this ain't prison, bro.
But do you know what I'm talking about? Before it was we come here and then you become a monolithic, you become part of the monolithic American culture and you put little parts of your culture in that might help benefit the society at large. Now it's like, well, actually, I'm going to come here, maintain every part of my shitty culture that I fled at the expense of American culture writ large, and it is unsustainable. And it's so infuriating.
This is one of those issues. It's not the flags that pisses you off so much as the culture importation. And you're 100% right. You know who agrees with you? Elon Musk.
Yes.
He posts about it all the time. He absolutely gets it. And he understands the difficulty. And he's a guy who has to kind of play ball with a lot of people. And I disagree with a lot of what he does. I won't get into it right now. But he absolutely understands that we cannot do this. It's not a sustainable path. These people are coming in, and we're worried about how we refer to them. Our vice president, when talking about somebody being murdered, is worried more about the term, even though we know he 100% agrees with what he said. His handlers just got to him. Really quickly, on the issue of crimes being committed by illegals, there was a Stanford University study of Mexican and Central American illegals are more likely to commit crimes than white Americans, European immigrants, Chinese immigrants, immigrants from anywhere else in the world.
Oh, it's almost like the data backs up my anger.
It's like literally any other immigrants, any other. And that includes places that want to kill us and wipe us off the map. If you had people coming in from Sudan, if you had people coming in from Iran, North Korea, Indonesia, the largest Muslim country in the world, people that want to kill America, come in and commit less crime. So I don't understand why we have a problem understanding and dealing with this issue, and specific examples of some of the migrant crime lately. here's what we're going to do. There were a lot of burglaries, theft, other kind of lower level, but still serious crimes. We're going to consider maybe the first one to go to murder. Murder tends to be the worst one because it's bad when stuff gets stolen from you. It's really worse when you're dead, right? So just a couple of examples, Laken Riley, Elizabeth Medina, and Kayla Hamilton. And Biden is more focused on not offending someone, which actually, you know what, Josh, that brings us to the woke word of the day.
Yeah.
With Louder with Crowder, learning is fun.
Hi, everyone. I'm Josh Firestine.
And I'm PJ.
And today's show is brought to you by the woke word of the day. PJ, you want to tell them about our woke word of the day?
I sure do, Josh. Today's word is microaggression.
What?
Microaggression.
Microaggression. Yes. Microaggression. We all know microaggression. That's when a microaggression is how little people feel when you call them, "What's up, big dog?"
No, they prefer dwarf, and that's not true, though.
I've never heard a midget say they want to be called a dwarf.
Yeah.
And it's very true. They hate big dog.
Well, there's parts of that are true, but dwarf.
Yeah, all right, big dog.
Dwarf is
Learning is fun.
That's my favorite episode.
It is. I love it. It is fun. Look, Joe Biden's pandering to the left again. He's not in control. They're in control of him.
Yep.
Let's not do the same thing on the right with TikTok. Let's not do the same thing that he's doing right now and changing his mind because of political persuasion or money or whatever the hell else is going on. Donald Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, we need a little bit more from you on this. We need to understand your position. And the left is never going to get immigration right, guys. Never, ever, ever. They're never going to do it correctly. They're going to put stuff in front of you that makes it seem like they care. They do not care. Ever, ever, period, done. Join Mug Club. Make sure that you go and join right now so that they don't take my family hostage again, and to make sure that you are not, in fact, gay. This is a test. This is a test to see if you are gay. If you do not subscribe, the results speak for themselves, but if you do subscribe, you are not gay. You get this wonderful girthy mug if you do annual $9 to go mugless. Make sure you do that.
How much to go anal? What did you just say?
I said mugless, and you are now gay, even though you were on the show.
I've always been gay.
Make sure you subscribe, you're gay, and go to crowdershop.com and grab some fantastic swag shirts that yell at you, and then also Donald Trump fighting like hell. We're going to go to Mug Club and have a fantastic time. YouTube, you're not invited. Piss off.